this is Robert with Blue Planet Surf Shop, and I'm going to show you how to use the Blue Planet Ding Stick to quickly and easily repair dings on your board, make them watertight. Doesn't take long at all, and it's good to always have one of these around when you're traveling or in your car. I always keep one of these in my glove compartment. It comes with the instructions here too, but I'm going to go over the instructions and show you. It's always easier to show it in person than to read it. So it has like a two-part putty stick inside, and you just need a little bit to use for a ding. So the first thing you do is you cut off a little slice of it, and you just use a knife or a razor blade, and you don't need a whole lot, just need a little slice. So the first step is to sand the ding. So this ding here, you want to make sure it's all dry, there's no water on it, and the nice thing about the putty is that it completely seals the ding. It's like a thick putty, so it won't let little air holes form. You won't get the little pinholes that you get with more liquid resins. So make sure it's dry though, and then you use the sandpaper that's included. Just rough up a little bit right around the ding where the putty's going to go, just to make sure that it adheres well. So I'm just going to rough it up a little bit right around the ding. There we go. So, and then after you rough it up with the sandpaper, make sure you wipe off any of the sanding dust. Make sure it's nice and clean. See, it has two parts to it. So it has the green on the outside and then the grayish on the inside. It's good to cut it off instead of, you can break it off too, but when you break it, it's a little bit harder to get the right amounts of the two parts. So you want to make sure you get the right amounts and mix them together. So basically you just use your fingers to mix the two parts together. And you want to make sure that the two colors are completely blended together. Like this. And it kind of gets sticky on your fingers, but it washes off fairly easily from your fingers. So I use this without rubber gloves. You can try rubber gloves, but rubber gloves makes it stick even more. So it seems to work best if you just use your bare fingers. And so once you have it like all consistent, you make a little ball out of it, and it should be all like a even gray color. You shouldn't be able to see any of the green stuff in it anymore. With the fully mixed putty, you take a little piece, and you don't have to use very much. You don't want to put it on too thick. Just put a nice glob on there, about as much as you need. You can always add a little bit more later. I'm just going to use about this much. And you notice I only cut off a thin slice of this putty, so I didn't use a whole lot, and I still have plenty left over. So you don't need much. Just slice off a thin slice, and you can always mix more if you need. But this roll of ding stick should last you a long time. You can fill some pretty deep holes with it too. So now that I have the basic amount of putty applied, I'm going to wash my hands and make sure my hands are wet. And then I'm going to use the wet fingers to smooth it out. The wet fingers is what keeps it from sticking to my fingers and stick to the ding instead. So I'm going to be right back after I wash my hands. Okay, so I washed my hands, and it washes off fairly easily with soap and so on. And then I just left my fingers wet. So instead of drying the hands off after washing it, I just left them wet. And now I can kind of stick it on, push it down my wet fingers, and it won't stick to my fingers as long as my fingers are wet. So I'm going to stick it down and make sure I cover all the little cracks that I want to make sure are completely sealed. And you don't need to make it a really thick glob. You just want to make sure you get a nice even layer on there. And then after you have it the way you want it, you can actually smooth it out real nice with just rubbing your wet fingers over it, and it'll give you a pretty nice smooth finish. And that's it. Now you can just let it dry for about 15 minutes before you go in the water, and within like 15 minutes it's hard enough to take it in the water. It takes a couple hours to fully cure, but it's basically, it seals the ding off completely. Okay, so the ding stick will quickly and easily fix a ding like that, make it watertight, and you can get back in the water quickly. So if you want to fully finish the repair professionally, you can wait till it's cured, sand down the ding a little bit, put some fiberglass over it with clear resin, sand it again, put a finish coat over it, sand it again, and then spray paint it with matching paint if you want to go that far. But for basic repairs, this works fine and keeps your board watertight, and that's very important to keep your board watertight. Most stand-up boards have EPS foam cores, which are lightweight, but they also can slowly take on water. So if you have a ding that leaks, even just a small pinhole or crack that leaks a little bit of water, especially if the board is warm and you take it into the water and it cools off, the air kind of sucks in and it'll suck water into the board, especially as the board is cooling off from hot to colder, and that'll make a lot of water enter into your board quickly. And once it's in there, it's much harder to get it back out because it takes a while to evaporate. All right, thanks for watching. Aloha.